there YouTube! Today I'm bringing you my winter reading wrap-up. Despite me wanting to read a lot more this year, I've only been reading a few books a month and it's like not enough to do a wrap-up video on. I feel like right now we're gonna do seasonal reading wrap-ups for the time being. If you want to know what I'm reading up to date, I guess follow me on Goodreads because I've been trying to update that a lot more with progress and thoughts and opinions on books that I'm reading. On to the stuff I read. I actually haven't been reading a lot of physical books lately. It's mostly been audiobooks. This is largely due to the fact that I drive an hour and a half both ways to work. Listening to audiobooks really helps that commute fly by. I think the only physical book I read this winter is this. It's The Wicked and the Divine, and it is not an actual book, it's actually a graphic novel. This is actually my boyfriend's and I borrowed it from him because I like to read graphic novels and I have a lot of friends who said it was good. My boyfriend didn't like it and I didn't like it either. I know a lot of people say a lot of really good things about this and there were some really good things about it. The art is really awesome and it's really cool and it has a kind of cool concept. It just threw you into it a little too quick. This is the first volume. I feel like I picked something up in the middle of the story, where sometimes that's good, but the narrative will do a lot of world building, and I like the type of world building that'll kind of like, I don't know, weave it into the story really well and you kind of understand what's happening, but I was so clueless the whole time I read this. It's like, what is this world and this concept of these gods that live for a short period of time and only show up every 90 years? I'm not sure what the details are, but it was just like, I feel like it could have been explained a little bit better. I don't know if I'm going to be continuing this series. The next not audio thing I read was actually digital, but I read an entire manga series. It's really short, it's only about 5 volumes, and it's called Orange, or Orenji in Japanese. About this group of 5 friends who suffered a huge loss in their friend group, and one of the characters gets a letter from herself in the future, and it's basically saying, save this friend. It has a lot of discussion on like parallel universes and alternate universes and stuff like that, which gets a little bit confusing to me because my brain can't wrap around it. I'm going to put out a little bit of a trigger warning because there is a lot of talk about depression and suicide and death, so if those are things that you can't really handle, I'm just warning you right now that it's a very, very big theme in this manga series. It really deals with making sure that your friends are okay if they're having a bad time, or just like communicating your feelings to your friends and just like caring for them, and that's something that I really, really like. I really think you should check it out. I read it on Crunchyroll's manga app. I have the manga app because I have the Crunchyroll premium account, and I think that might be the only way you can get it. I'm not sure. Next on my list is the Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. And I'm gonna say I didn't like this very much. I think my problem with this book, or just the general message of this series, is I don't agree with the message. What I got from this book was that if you are religious and in a sort of way, you're stupid and ignorant and you shouldn't believe in God or any sort of like higher power. It felt like this message that was being presented by this book where if you believe in God, you are dumb and you are ignorant. I didn't like that message. I felt like it was very condescending towards people who are religious. And I just didn't agree with it. This book, out of the whole like his Dark Materials series, to be kind of the longest, the one that kind of went on the longest, like hurry up. Mostly because I think there were a lot of different perspectives in it and I just kind of wanted it to be done. The world is really cool and a lot of the characters are really good, and the audiobook is really awesome because it's like one of those fully produced audio books where there's the narrator and then there are different voices for all the different characters. So it's just a really entertaining audiobook. I just didn't agree with the message of the book in general. The next book I listened to is You're Never Weird on the Internet, Almost, by Felicia Day. And this is a memoir on Felicia Day's life, and it was so inspiring to me. So inspiring to me. There were parts towards the end of the book where she talks about like doing what you want to do or making things and stuff like that, where it just made me cry. I was just driving to work just crying because it resonated so well with me. Next up we have the Lunar Chronicles, and I'm not going to say too much about the Lunar Chronicles because I love them so much I'm going to make a whole video, maybe 2 videos, about this series, related to this series, because I loved it so much. Actually, these are sci-fi retellings of fairy tales like Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White. And it kind of puts them into this futuristic sci-fi type thing. I just loved this series so much. It felt so magical, and it was just like a really, really great read. I'm going to do a full review of the Lunar Chronicles as a series in another video, just because I have so many thoughts and so many feelings about the Lunar Chronicles. The next book that I listened to on audiobook is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I heard so much about Ready Player One. I feel like everyone has read it, and I was the last person on the planet to read it, and everybody loved it, and it was amazing, and all this stuff, and I didn't like it. First off, I didn't realize this until I started listening to it, but the book is narrated by Wil Wheaton, and I'm not the biggest Wil Wheaton fan. I don't like listening to Wil Wheaton's voice. So that was the first thing that put me off for it. I felt like this book, a lot of the characters was everything that I hate about the internet. The language that they use, the way that some of these characters talk to each other, it was just like, can we not, please? And I just found myself like rolling my eyes at a lot of the things happening in the books, and I felt like the references to 80s stuff was just like really heavy-handed. I felt like going into this, the way people were talking about it, I felt like it was a little less heavy-handed on the 80s references than it was. But no, that's like, it's really heavy-handed. I definitely give this book a try if you're into video games or 80s things, because you might like it. I just felt like it wasn't the best book for me. I also found the main character to be extremely unlikable, and not in the way that I like unlikable characters, but like in the way where I want to throw you off a cliff right now. And that's everything that I read in the winter. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, and if you liked any of them and why you like them. Tell me why you like Ready Player One, because I don't see it. As for what I'm going to be reading in the near future, I'm going to finish this book. This is The Magician King by Lev Grossman, and I need to finish this. That's all I've got for you guys today. I'm Christy Lou. Till next time, matane!